Good morning to everyone. We are yet broadcasting live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, having another episode of Jumpstart Monday. It's Independence Day today in the United States, so our episode is all about being independent as a professional and as a human being. Today we have on our show leadership coach, mentor, and author Vaso Vardaki, who's also a great and a genuine friend, a person I look up to and admire, and that's why I invited her to come onto our show. Are you getting too comfortable? Is your comfort zone getting too wide? Would you like to change your profession, your job title, or even the company you work for? Well, these are the answers we're going to be providing today on the Jumpstart Monday show. And if you're here, drop us a note to tell us that you can listen to us clearly, and feel free to share this episode so we can touch more people, more lives, and get more people out of their comfort zone. At the end of this episode, we're going to be announcing the winner of the one-to-one mentoring and coaching with myself, and this will happen just right at the end. The first part is going to be 4 questions or 5 questions we're going to be asking Vaso, and then we will open it up to you to come on live if you wish by following the link you will now see on your screen. You just copy that link into your browser and you will come live on our show, and you can join us and ask Vaso your question. Or you can send in your questions by typing it, and we get to ask Vaso the question. Without any further ado, let's get Vaso Vardaki on our show. Good morning, Vaso, and hope you're doing well.
Good morning, Michael. Thank you for having me here. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
I really enjoyed your book presentation. It's Courage or Truth. This is a game we used to play when we were kids. So Vaso, before I ask you about your childhood, let me ask you one other question. Should we go for courage or should we go for our truth? Which one is more important than these 2 words?
Michael, you need courage to tell your truth. That's my quote. You need courage to become yourself. You need courage to tell your truth. So it's going one with the other.
That's one of the best answers I heard. That was very succinct and to the point. Okay, with a lot of courage to get your truth now, let me ask about Vaso. How was Vaso as a child? What motivated Vaso?
Well, Michael, I was the oldest child of a big family. I have 3 brothers, I have 2 more sisters, and the first 5 or 6 years of my life, I lived in Athens. And then we returned to Cyprus, into the village of my mother. So that was the first big change of my life. That was the first time I realized that my reality was not permanent. And I needed to adapt into my new reality if I wanted to make new friends, if I wanted to avoid bullying, because I used to talk differently. I used to talk with the Greek accent. So I moved from the life of the apartment of Athens into the life of the village and the culture of the open neighborhood and the yards. At that time, I think I took my first lesson, and that was adaptation. Because I really, really needed to change and adapt if I wanted to survive into this new environment as a child. That was very important for me.
Very true. And what we're about to ask, I have a feeling that it has to do with adaptation. The next question. A speech therapist, a person who loved music and progressed and advanced quite far in music, a professional, a mentor, a business coach. You worked also in businesses, huge businesses here in Cyprus. You have changed a lot. What prompted you to make all these changes and not get stuck somewhere and stay in your comfort zone?
Well, Michael, the only thing that never changes is that everything changes at some point. That's the most important thing that I have in my mind first. And I will tell you, when I was 25 years old, I first read my first personal development book. I think I gave you that book and you read it also, remember? And that made me realize that there was a completely different mindset out there that I could explore. So as you know, I did 2 major career changes in my life. From a speech therapist to sales and marketing, and from sales manager to mentor, coach, and writing. Looking backwards now, I can put 2 titles onto these transition periods of my career. And the first title, the first years, back in my 25 years, I wanted to achieve more. So the first title is achieve more, do more, have more. At that point of my life, I felt that if I didn't change my career, my life would have taken a specific path. I didn't want to be part of it.
Wow.
So I created this image in my mind. I visualize myself in a leadership role. Visualization is an excellent tool. I visualize myself in a corporate environment, and then I did all the work that needed to be done in order to make it happen. I did my MBA. I applied in hundreds of jobs. I don't remember how many interviews. And 2 years later, I was hired by a well-established company to become a trade marketing officer. And 3 years later, I accepted the offering of a sales manager role. So my dream back then, became a reality after 5 years. 5 years after I did this visualization. And the second transition in my life was from a sales manager to coaching, mentoring, and writing, as I'm doing now. I decided, and that title, I would say that title is Be More. Be more. That part of my life is be more. I decided to become a coach and a mentor and leave my comfort zone to become more. I felt like I didn't just wanted the success of my career path, but I also wanted the fulfillment, the personal vision, the purpose, and the meaning beneath my work and life. That was very important to have more.
Very good. From adaptation, then we move on to the only constant thing in life is change. And you have to be more and study, put milestones. You were always looking at your goals, setting those goals, putting them down in writing most probably, and then moving on to achieve them. Can I ask you, because I remember the book that you have mentioned, it's an amazing book, and I'm going to ask Martina to search for it, and then we can show the title and the author. I remember it in Greek, the title, because I read it in Greek, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't remember it in English. Do you remember the title of the book? I think it was The Night with
It was The Night with the Rusty
Armor. The Night with the Rusty Armor. Highly suggested to all our fans and friends to get this book and read this book. It not only will get you out of your comfort zone, it will make you a different man or a different woman in terms of moving, progressing in business and in life. Very true, very true. So Vaso, what was the most challenging and the most rewarding part of changing jobs, changing professions, moving out of your comfort zone? Challenges and rewards.
So now I will take a quote from my book. And I will say that the only person that can really stop you is yourself. The most challenging part of every change, of every transition period is our own self, is our own limiting beliefs, our fears, our thoughts, our procrastination, and our actions. So it is, having said that, Michael, it is extremely important, and I did that as well, and I'm still doing that in every transition phase, to have someone to be accountable with. And I'm not talking about our friends and our family, that is very important, but I'm also talking about professional accountability, a thinking partner, a coach, a mentor that will help you bring clarity to your thoughts and plan your actions. That's extremely important. Bring clarity, increase awareness, and plan your next steps. And this is a part of the transition coaching as well. The most rewarding part, of course, is when you look back and you are able to connect the dots and you realize who you have become into this process, because you will never be the same person, Michael. Every time you find the courage to change, you are becoming a completely new person. And that, I believe, is the most rewarding part of changing.
It's very true, Vaso. And I remember the first time we met in person. After I left from there, I told my wife that through your questions, it was two questions in particular, you made me think, you challenged me to think and to weigh my values, my thinking, the future, the past. You were amazing. And you're right, you need to plan and you need someone to bring clarity and help you plan ahead. And here is where I highly suggest that Vaso can be your coach through your next steps. And she hasn't paid me for it. I'm saying it through thick and skin. I believe it truly. So Vaso, we all have different skills, different competencies, different work experience, but it's not always easy to connect the dots and evolve professionally. What is your advice for people who want to change jobs, either want to move out of their comfort zone, or even move out of that company or start their own business? How can people connect the dots when sometimes it's so easy to understand it, but so difficult to implement it?
I will talk. I will say four advices here, Michael. Number one, learn yourself. You cannot imagine how many people will answer, I don't know, when you ask them questions like, what are your top 5 strengths, talents, or desires? What activities makes you feel passionate? What do you love? What are your opportunities for growth? They will say, I don't know. What are your plans and your dreams for the next 3 to 5 years? What do you really like? What are your top 3 values? They will say, I don't know. And people don't take time to meet and know themselves. If you don't know yourself, you cannot set boundaries. You cannot plan strategically for your future. You cannot find what you really want and not what should be your next step based on stereotypes of the society, of your family, of your friends, or of the company you work for. So first, learn yourself. My second advice here is lead yourself. Lead yourself. First, you have to learn yourself, then you have to lead yourself. Be intentional. Close the autopilot. That's extremely important. And how do you do that? You become more intentional. You realize where you are and where you want to go. You set some SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, and time bound goals. It's very important to set some SMART goals for the next couple of years. You get some support if needed. You get out of your comfort zone. You try new things. You are willing to try new things. You are willing to fail. You are willing to explore. And when you fail some more. And it's important to know the direction you are heading, not necessarily the exact destination, because you never know after 10 years where you will be, but I believe it's very important to know the direction. Number 3 is make sure that your next step is always aligned with your personal values. That's again very important, because when you are sure that your next step is aligned with your personal values, then you know you are on the right direction. Your personal values are your compass, and you know that you are on the right direction. And the final advice, trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. You will be able to connect the dots only when you look backwards, Michael, and realize the bigger picture. If you do the previous steps, then trust the process, and then look backwards, assess, and move forward. Look backwards, assess, and move forward. That will be
amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much. We will open the floor to questions, or if anyone wants to come live. But before we do that, we promised to show the book. I showed it earlier, but let me show it again. This was the book that Vaso has given me on our first meeting when we met. I read this book. I devoured it in one day, the night in Rusty Armor. It's worth reading. You can read it in Greek. You can read it in English. And I have a feeling it got translated into many, many languages. If I recall well, Vaso, it was about a knight who was in his armor, and he thought he could never take his armor out. He thought, was he scared to take it out? Or he couldn't. And then slowly, his armor started coming out, and it takes you through a journey and different experiences that he had, and it gives you a lot of life lessons and business lessons in the process.
Yes.
I also highly suggest Vasos's book, Tharos y Alithia. It's only translated in the Greek language up to now, but my feeling, having read the book, it's going to be translated also into the English language. So let me recap before we go on to any of our questions. Vaso has told us that the first thing you should do is to adapt. To fail to adapt, then probably you won't progress a lot in life. Then the only constant is change. The only constant in life is death, or maybe also taxes, but we need to change all the time and be adaptable. She also told us that connecting the dots and looking at the person you have become in the process is the most rewarding thing. And what's challenging is having an accountability partner, somebody to be there with you, to keep your hand or join you by the hand through the journey and plan with you, because no man or woman is an island. You cannot do it alone. And last but not least, she gave us 4 processes. The first is to get to know yourself, to understand yourself. The second thing is to lead yourself and don't go on autopilot. The third thing is to live by your values, to have your values escort you in this journey. Because if you're true to your values, you will be a genuine human being and you will be leading with your values, and it won't make your decisions difficult. Because if you don't have values, you do make decisions difficult. As I said to Vaso earlier before we started, the question I always ask in order to understand and clarify your values in a single second is, would you ever rob a bank if no one would ever know? So by answering this question, you know. And last but not least, Vaso has said, trust the process. So this is it, Vasomu. And let's go to see some of the comments that have come in and say our good mornings. Let's see. Good morning to Nikki. Having connection issues. Can you hear me? Sophia, you can hear me, correct? Vaso, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
We're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Vaso, because we didn't have any questions coming up. When you're crystal clear about what you say, there are no questions. You're undisputed. So well done. So before I give you the floor to close it, let me say who session. This is the person, these are the people who do share this episode to get into our next prize, which is going to be a subscription to the Standout online course for next week. But for this week is one-on-one with myself. And our winner is Antonia Yeridu. Antonia, congratulations. Thank you for being present. I also saw you today that you're present. And thank you for sharing last week's episode. And you don't need to share it while the episode is live. You can share it afterwards as well. And Antonia, to claim your prize, please contact my personal assistant, Martina Dambago, who just started a few days ago. And this is her email there. You can write down her email. Just contact her and she will tell you how to claim your prize. Just bear with us because next week I'm off to the United States to run a seminar and an intervention. So it's going to be after the 21st of July. But we will do it either face-to-face in Limassol or through Zoom. So Vaso, it's down to you, my friend. Just a final word to say to all our fans and friends. Final word from you.
Yeah, the only thing that never changes is that everything changes. And the only person that can stop you from changing is yourself. That would be my final comment. Don't feel fear for change.
Very good. Thank you, Vaso. You were succinct. You were to the point. I can now understand how your mentees, which I spoke to them during your book presentation, are so happy with your work. Thank you very much, Vaso, for doing us the honors. Thank you to Martina and Sofia for being here and helping out. And we'll see you all next Monday. Take good care.